Good afternoon from Cleveland, Ohio. Today is Saturday, October 22nd, 2022. It is 3 o'clock p.m. and we have another very nice warm day in Cleveland. 73 degrees right now. It's a tad windy, like 12 miles per hour wind, but I'm able to wear a t-shirt and shorts right now. I did bring a long sleeve shirt in my backpack with me in case I need it later on when it gets down to about the mid 60s. Past several days, well, yesterday it was in about 50 to 60 degrees, but like 3 days before that it was in 30 degree weather. So fortunate to have this nice fall day. And that's part of the reason why I'm starting the video here on West Boulevard. Last week I did a bike riding video where I went down West 105th to Bel Air to Purtis through Rocky River Reservation and then all the way to Olmsted Falls. And I actually started the video on the other side of West Boulevard. Today I'm on so West 105th, the intersection would be over there to the right. That's where I went last week. Now, instead, this week, I'm staying to the left, going south on West Boulevard, because we are going to make our way first toward Brooklyn, and if all goes well, we will also go to the Parma area. I'm hoping for this ride to be a mixture of several things. Like I said earlier, I want to showcase the fall foliage. So hopefully as I'm riding you can pick up the various colors on the leaves and the trees. And then B, there's a few Halloween related houses I'd like to show off in Parma. Now some of them have like exhibits at nighttime where you actually, like they're open from like maybe 7 o'clock to 10 o'clock where you can actually walk through to the backyard and such. I don't know if I'll be there at that time, as we see on the left here. Nice. I'm going to try to do that too if I see little houses. Stop and show the decorations. Yeah, so I'll try to check out a few of those houses in Parma in the daytime, because I'm sure the decorations will still, you can see a good amount of them. I don't know if I'll be out late enough to actually visit any of them during the evening. But then the third things that I want to try to do on this bike riding video is talk about some of the places and memories as we're riding out down Pearl or Ridge Road toward Parma Town. And we'll see if I actually get to Parma Town while it's still daylight. I have not been to Parma Town since they tore down the mall and rebuilt the whole thing up. It's been a couple of years now since that project's been completed. And I've seen plenty of pictures of it online. I just haven't been to it myself. As we're approaching Walford, always have glass right at this intersection, like when you're leading up to the sidewalk. And then there's always glass here, unfortunately. This would be so nice to just ride right through. Look at this. I mean, this is crazy. I don't know if you can see it. Let me take the tilt off. This whole, you wouldn't think because there's no like bar around here, but I swear like this area up until like halfway through the trees, it's always littered with so much glass. So that's why, from past experience, I know just to get up and walk it a little bit. But I still like coming through here because even though the sidewalks are a bit bumpy, I like being engulfed in these giant trees. And look at it, yeah. You probably can't see it because I'm not pointing it down again, but there's another huge pile of glass right there. And then once you get past like this tree here, but I'll still walk a little bit because there's a dip in the sidewalk here. Once you get past this area, the rest of it is mostly clear. And I don't know what's going on up there at the corner, but I see a bunch of balloons and people out. So we'll have to check out what that is. At the Walford factory on the left here, I believe they still have an indoor BMX park. Yeah, I don't know what this is. Could be a memorial for someone. I don't see any signs really indicating what it is. The parking lot over there at the baseball diamond is jam-packed where all those people parked. So now we're driving down toward Clinton. I know I've done one bike riding video before when I headed out toward some of the Brooklyn's bike paths. And when I did that bike riding video, this whole area was not overgrown, but I had made the comment that like, oh, when you get later in the season, there's a lot of overgrowth here where you can't ride through the sidewalk. Believe it or not, what you see right now is actually not the worst it's been. This is like medium. You know, the best was when I did that previous bike riding video, it was all trimmed. But in the worst case scenario, it's like double the amount of what you just saw where you... Yeah, so we're going to continue up Clinton. And then I believe the left side here is Cleveland, and then the right side of the street would be part of Brooklyn, or at least part of it. One thing I'll get to test today too is how good my brake cable changing experience is. You would think since I ride my bicycle so often that I would be like pretty good at knowing how to repair bikes. But really my knowledge is only limited to changing inner tubes for flat tires, sometimes patching inner tubes. But a few days ago when I was just doing a simple bike ride to the grocery store, I didn't even like slam on the brakes or anything, but I could just feel like I very lightly applied my left brake, which is controls the front, and the brake cable just, snapped. I still had my back brake, so I was able to ride back home safely enough. But a couple years ago, let's say 2 to 3 years ago, I had ordered a pack of about 10 brake cables off of Amazon, just in case something like this would ever happen. I would have one handy. So last night I found that old package, brought it out, and I think one other time I had changed a brake cable, like close to a decade ago. I just took some pictures. As I'm going over to the cemetery area, West Park Cemetery. Yeah, I took some pictures of the brake, how the old one looked, and just mimicked it with the new one. Inserting it was no problem. The challenge was I don't have the proper like wire cutters. So I was using a tool that could kind of cut wires, but I was like going at it for like 5 minutes trying to slowly snip the brake cable, because otherwise, you only want like 2 to 3 inches or maybe 3 inches of slack after you install the brake cable. Otherwise the whole, you got to have like 2 feet of brake cable just hanging loose, and you don't want that. So after I snipped it, then it was an okay cut, but some of the wires were trying to fray a little bit, so I had to put one of those caps on the end of the cable and then crimp the cap so that it would stay on. So I felt, silly as it may sound, I felt sort of proud of myself afterward. I was like, all right, I changed it without even having to look at YouTube too much. The only thing I looked at on YouTube was a quick video trying to get advice on how to cut the cable. So we'll see today if I did a good enough job. So far the brake's been holding up well. I see a beaver ahead, right? Or is that a groundhog? It's always nice to see some type of animals. Although I don't know about all these geese. Look at them just sitting there. I like how that person decorated with pumpkins and such. But I am going to pause the video for a second to check out something on Google Maps. And my apologies, I think I zoomed in earlier on the glass and I still had it zoomed in the whole ride, so hopefully it wasn't too bad with how it looked. Alright, I just rode just a tiny bit before resuming. Sorry again about having that zoomed in 2 times. I think that was when I was looking at the glass earlier and zooming in. I must have not zoomed out. So I always used to think of this as the starting point of Brooklyn, even though the left side still Cleveland. We're actually going to cross over to the Cleveland side. There's multiple ways I can get to this first Halloween house, but mainly I have to know to go down Bidoff at some point past Pearl Road. So this is Ridge Road we're on right now. Later on we're going to come back to Ridge, but I think I'm going to do that closer to where Pearl intersects with Ridge Road, which is basically, or is when you're in Parma. But riding through this little stretch of Brookside Reservation should be pretty nice to catch some of the changing colors of the leaves. Look at this, the light's changing yellow right now, and you've got like all these cars that just zipped on through still. Oh, what the heck? I didn't get the cross thing even though I pressed it. The button's not working. Alright, I'm gonna stop the video then. When it comes next time, I'm gonna have to make sure there's no traffic. Strangely enough, this time it changed. You know, I'll have to go back, since I have it on video, I can actually see whether I was crazy or not. Maybe I was so busy talking that I forgot to press the button. I thought I did the first time. So we're on the bike trail in Brookside Reservation. This is like the long path leading up to the Ball Diamonds. We're not going to go in the Ball Diamonds though, we're just going to take the hill going upward once we reach a certain point here. And that'll take us up by, well, you'll see when we get there. On your left. So yeah, so if I would have taken the path to the left, that would have taken you down by Talty Field, Brookside Reservation, number 4. Soccer fields down there, some softball fields, Rose and Elder fields, volleyball. And if you really keep on going down that path on the left, you eventually come out up by Denison, and I want to say it's somewhere like Denison and 54th Street. Well, isn't that such a pretty picture though? Yeah, I've always found it cool how this is such like a small neighborhood version of the metro parks, because you know you could go to Rocky River or Big Creek Parkway and ride in an atmosphere like this for a while, which is very nice as well. But if you're just trying to get to Brooklyn in some capacity, you just get some nice little exposure to that. And down on Talty Field, there's actually a game going on right now. How do you like that? Month of October, still playing baseball. Unfortunately, the Cleveland Guardians season ended a couple days ago when they lost to the New York Yankees in Game 5 of the divisional series. We're going to go down Fulton. Oh, you're fine. So in order to go down Fulton, we make a right turn here. Reason I didn't want to continue on down, it wouldn't be that long of a ride, but I've covered that area and the whole ride we just did before, so trying to mix in some new territory. Going down Fulton for a little bit here. So over there on the east side of Fulton, on the left is Estabrook Recreation Center. When I was doing my video last week toward Olmsted Falls, we passed by Gunning Rec, so those are two of the big rec centers in the city of Cleveland. Coming up here is Discount Drug Mart. There's some more modern facades out there, but this is like a very old looking facade. They've always kept it the same, and must be a busy place. So you've got two sides of the street of stores. On the left, you've got a Save-A-Lot food stores. And right after that on the left is Papa John's Pizza. And I have a funny memory of the Papa John's. I'll try to tell that in a second. First, I want to mention Dollar Tree up here. So where you see the Dollar Tree, that used to be Unique Thrift Store. Again, when I was growing up, I know there was a couple Unique thrift stores in Cleveland, but this was like the one I knew about. And as a little kid, my family would go in there, and I thought it was a cool store as a kid, just rummaging through stuff. Like, oh, it seemed like a big garage sale to me. Well, that shut down and is now a Dollar Tree. But speaking about the Papa John's earlier, back when LeBron James was in his first stint with the Cleveland Cavaliers, something happened, I believe, where there may have been a playoff series with the Washington Wizards, and I believe a Washington Papa John's made some type of social media remark that was like negative toward Cleveland and LeBron, and people made a bit of a stink about it. So then the Papa John's in the Northeast Ohio area ran a promotion as like an apology, saying, okay, on this certain day or whatever, we're gonna have 23 cents, because that was LeBron's jersey number, 23-cent large pizzas. I believe it was large pizzas. So my mom, and my dad came to it, and I think we were in line, like standing all the way back here, which, and we waited. And I was in college at the time, so I actually came during one of my, lapses in between classes. I'll cross the intersection first before I continue. Yeah, I was in one of my, in between classes, and I came down. I think it was I don't think it was like a pouring rain day, but it might have been either a light rain. At the very least, it was definitely an overcast day. But me, my mom, and my dad, we each got our 23-cent pizzas. Well, that's one of those memories you'll never forget. I know a lot of people would hear that and be like, I'm not waiting in that big line for that, but hey, you'll never see a promotion like that again. And like I said, still made for a nice little memory. We're riding uphill going toward Biddulph. I don't know if Biddulph's the next main road, but I think it is. Myles Garrett, who's a defensive end for the Browns, like highest paid defensive player in the NFL. Last year for Halloween, he decorated his front yard home in Wadsworth with like gravestones that had quarterback names on them, and then ended up making some like national headlines just because it was kind of cool. I know he had noted like, hey, I didn't do this for publicity, I just did it for, cool for Halloween in the neighborhood. I wasn't looking for, I think he actually made some comment that he wasn't really a fan of so many people stopping by and like taking pictures and like gawking. But anyway, someone a few days ago posted on social media that this year it looked like he did a Stranger Things themed version of it. And I know how popular Stranger Things is, and that coupled with the fact that I think he had like quarterbacks attached to the Stranger Things, like Vecna's arms. I got a simple Halloween display here, but anyway, no one had covered from a national perspective yet Myles Garrett's house for 2022. So I was thinking to myself, like, oh man, I should go out there. That could be a unique way to generate some more hits or subscribers to the Poco Traveler channel and for my Browns blog as well, especially if I'm the first person to get out there and kind of report on it and to tie into the Stranger Things thing. But he lives out in Wadsworth, which is a 35-minute drive. So not a long drive really, but I don't drive myself. I'm not gonna bike ride all the way out there, so I actually did look at what the rates were for an Uber or Lyft ride. But it would have been like $50 to $60 each way. So I was like, I'll pass up on it. I know I was also looking at North Ridgeville, which is, I believe, past like North Olmsted, further out, even past Olmsted Falls to a degree. And there were a couple of, like 2 homes out there who decorated with a little bit of a Cleveland Browns theme tied into Halloween. So that was of interest to me. I haven't decided if I'll try to find a way to get out there, but unfortunately with the bus system, I could take a bus like part way, but then nothing really goes directly to North Ridgeville. All right, here is Biddulph. So we are going to make a left turn. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to cross the street and then go left here. Before I get too far, I am going to pull out my phone and check out Google Maps just to make sure I'm on the right trajectory. And we're also passing by James Ford Rhodes High School. Rhodes was one of the big rivalries to John Marshall High School when I played high school baseball on the John Marshall baseball team. Because for many years, like, you had the top 3 teams for baseball: John Marshall. Well, this is just within the Cleveland schools. John Marshall, Rhodes, and Lincoln West. Those were like the big 3. Originally during my time, and a couple of years before that as well, John Marshall was like the number 1. But then my final 2 years, it was like neck and neck, almost like a 3-way tie. And then I believe shortly after I departed, and like the whole team I played with, they all graduated, John Marshall kind of fell to what seemed like 3rd. Like it was just basically Rhodes and Lincoln West competing against each other every year for the championship. And that was when I would just look at the newspaper at the end of the season and see who was playing. But during all those high school years, I never actually knew. I knew Rose was kind of in this area, but I didn't know exactly where it was. And even right now, don't think I really know exactly where Lincoln West High School is either. Some of the other high schools, like Glenville and South High School on the east side, I knew where those ones were because my dad went to South High School. And then Glenville, we actually played a road baseball game there once. And they had it was not like a good baseball field per se. It was just more like a grass field, dirt infield, just a very basic. Their baseball field was right behind their high school. So we played one road game there. Alright, so this is Pearl. I said I was going to look at my phone earlier, but I'm going to do it now instead. Alright, a little change of plans. So instead of going down Pearl right now, I'm actually really close to the Skelly Manor house. That means I'm going to cross here. We're going to cross Pearl and continue on Biddulph for about 1 block, and I think I'm turning down West 41st Street, and then some street called Buchner or Buckner. I need to look at the lines online to see what area is defined as Old Brooklyn. I know I've had a few requests before to cover the Old Brooklyn area. I don't know if that's technically part of Cleveland, or like if this area I've been riding through is Old Brooklyn, or I know, it's officially Cleveland based on the street signs. This is Stickney. And then Buckner, I think, is the next street. Or not. This is Germain. Maybe it's one more after Germain. If it's not the next one, I'll pull out Google Maps again to check it. I know last week during my Olmsted Falls ride, there were 2 occasions where I overshot where I was supposed to turn. Yeah, here's Buchner or Buckner, and I believe it's on the right side of the street. Look at this. That squirrel is stealing the pumpkin. Yeah, I caught you. That's funny, it actually did run away. Here is Skelly Manor. There's the gates closing. They must have that like on an automatic sensor. I'm going to shoot a separate video of this, but let me just include it on this one for a second. You even have the skeletons hanging above on the electrical cords. But yeah, like I said, I'm going to shoot a separate video real quick showing in more detail the Skelly Manor house from the outside. Alright, so I took my pictures of Skelly Manor. Like I said, very, very cool. And I'm going to do a separate video for Poco Traveler on that. And we'll see if I come back 8 o'clock p.m. Might be, like I said, might be too late for my purposes because I don't want to be out riding around in the dark too long. But now we're reversing, staying on Buckner. Because I saw two things. A, at the end of this street is Honey Hut ice cream. I don't know if that's a widely known place. I feel like it kind of is. But for some reason I have it in my mind, like when I was really young, that either my parents or relatives liked Honey Hut ice cream. So I figured, hey, it's right here, let's swing by it. And then on top of it, if I stay on State Road and then make a right and keep going into Parma, two of the other houses that I was going to look at are along this route. Yeah, so here's Honey Hut ice cream, and the sign since 1974 it says. Let me get around more to the front of it. As crazy as it sounds, this on a day like this in October, past mid-October, you could still order Honey Hut. And it would fit the temperature and atmosphere. Yeah, so that's at the corner of 41st and State Road. So let's ride down State for a little bit. I am not at all familiar with businesses on State Road, so I can't offer any commentary on memories that I have. I do see that the 51A bus comes down State Road. Got some construction on the sidewalks up ahead, and I want to be on the other side of the street anyway. So let me see if I can get a spot to cross here. I won't wait too long. If I don't see a window, I'll just keep going, walk through the construction. Yeah, the problem is once the left side of the street frees up, the right side of the street seems to get the clearance to go. Although I do have a window right here. There we go. wherever I just crossed from, on the side of the wireless building, they have a mural that says Indians and then that baseball from the old Major League movie. So I wonder what the significance of the mural being on the side of that building is. The street before the highway looks to be Silverdale. Got new sidewalks here, I guess, where that dirt was earlier. They'll be putting in new ones there. Alright, well, I do know a little bit about one thing. Across the street there on the right is the original mattress factory. And with all these cars zipping, I'm not gonna go out unless maybe after this car. Here it goes. Yeah, there we go. See, perfect timing. No one's coming. But yeah, but right over there, original mattress factory. I've always had it in my mind that that's like the place to go for mattresses if you're trying to get a new one in the area. Over here on the left, there's something else that says Mattress Showcase, name brand factory outlet. So maybe they're piggybacking off the traffic that original mattress factory gets. Here's Lenox. Now we're getting up to Brook Park Road. I definitely know we're going to be crossing Brook Park to get to the other side. After that, I'll need to again reference my Google Maps, but I'm pretty sure it's not too far of a ride from Brook Park. Fortunate timing too, how none of these cars are trying to turn. So if I kept going that way, you would end up back toward Ridge Road. Alright, so if I keep going down this road, there's Marmore, Brockview, Norton, Tuxedo, and then Russell. And then after that, Lincoln. But Russell and Lincoln, each of those streets has a house that I want to check out. So we'll ride until Russell, and then I'm going to make a left turn. Well, this is the type of day where I actually probably should have threw some sunscreen on. If I'm going to be riding for a couple hours, I'm sure I'm going to have a nice tan tomorrow. There's Tuxedo that we're passing. So what did I say, Russell? I think Russell's the next street. It's not too much of a deterrent, but riding south, I'm consistently pedaling against the wind. Yeah, so here's Russell. And I do think I have to ride, like it's not right on the corner. I have to ride at least like a block down. I'm not checking Google Maps because it should be one of those things just like Skelly Manor where you can kind of eyeball and it's pretty obvious that there's a big Halloween house. I knew Skelly Manor from what I was reading online was like the place, and whatever other two houses I marked here, I forget if both of them or just one of them have similar like nighttime exhibits. And I think on one or both of them you won't be able to see everything without going to the nighttime one, but we'll see what we can see in the front yard. I'm going to guess that this is the exhibit for Russell. Trying to get out of the sun. So unfortunately they don't have the certain items blown up right now. Hello.
How you doing? I'm open at 7:30 tonight if you want to catch it all lit up and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I saw the ad for 7:30. I'm going to be doing like a ride out toward Parma, so if it's that late and I'm still here on the way back, I may.
You want to come back and check out the back? The front is not the impressive part.
Well, I'm a fan of Ghostbusters, so I was like, oh, the inflatables are not.
Let me put them up for you. Like I just happened to be walking past the window and I saw you hop off.
Uh-huh.
I'm like,
Yeah, I do.
anything up right now? 'Cause I just got up.
Uh-huh. Oh, nice. Yeah, I do like a video for, it's a small channel, but I do like a hobby YouTube channel, so that's why I was trying to do like a bike ride and then show some of the Halloween houses on the way.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, actually, there's a lot of us real close together. Did you already see Douglas?
Is that the Skelly Manor one, or no?
Skelly Manor's over here. Douglas Manor's on this street.
The next one over? Okay, yeah, I had that marked in my, I had 3 houses marked. I had Skelly Manor, this one, and then Douglas.
Yeah, we're the bigger haunt. But they have a really cute, since you're right here,
Mhm.
a cute one on Brookview.
Okay, Brookview?
And then Cook is surprisingly in Old Brooklyn. It's really like 2 streets into Old Brooklyn. They tore
Tons.
it up.
Oh, nice.
They have a 12-foot Skelly that they did super, they dressed little Skellies like superheroes attacking it. It's cute.
Nice.
But you can come back if you want.
All right, yeah. Is that a Cleveland? I thought I saw a Cleveland Browns helmet back there.
You did. That's my Dogtown back there.
Oh, nice. I run a Browns blog too, so I always.
Oh, you'll love that. The one werewolf is snickering at the 1909 Bengals Browns bear.
Mm-hmm.
The dog is eating a raven and then stealing on a steak.
Oh, nice. Are all these areas like lit up at nighttime?
Yeah. That's why I said it's kind of better at night, but I mean you're here.
See, that's one of my challenges is that I don't drive, so like I ride a bike, so I don't mind riding at night necessarily, but like it's easier to ride during the daytime. But yeah. Oh man,
You can actually check out
the garage too.
A lot of the houses in the daytime look good. It's just you're not getting the lighting and the.
Right.
Oh, now you want to go off. You haven't went off all season.
Wow, this is, yeah, I may have to come back in the evening just because there's so much cool stuff. What time does it start again in the evening? 7:30 or 8?
7:30 and I go until 10:30 this weekend.
Okay.
Where are you from?
West side of Cleveland.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, last week I rode on Saturday down to.
Go back.
Oh, okay.
It's okay.
Last week I rode to Olmsted Falls and saw that.
Foggy Falls and the route.
Well, I only had enough time to check out the one on River Road with the big foam pumpkin. Yeah. With the big foam pumpkin out in.
Oh, Allen.
Yeah, Allen.
His house is spectacular
Uh-huh.
too. A lot of good houses out that way too.
Yeah, I know. I had marked one that had like at least the pictures online showed. Look, I think it was like they were carnival or clown type of or candy thing exhibit, but I looked on Google Maps and it would have been like 30 more minutes to ride out there, and I was like, I had already ridden like an hour and a half.
That was just getting to me. What was that?
I would say like I had ridden to get to Alan's house like an hour and a half last week. So then like
Hike.
yeah, when that other house was like 30 minutes away further, I was like, I guess I'll just have to skip that one. And then I was hoping this week to come out to like this area. Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, luckily we got a real nice little trifecta here. People really get their
Their fills.
time's worth.
Oh, you even have the murderous Barbie.
Yeah, my Chucky's House of Horrors and Chucky's Toys of Terror. And
Very cool. Yeah, when I was a kid, I always used to just decorate like my bedroom with small stuff, but seeing things like this, I think is just so cool.
yeah, it's an obsession, that's for sure.
Where do you like when it's not Halloween season? Where do you store? I always wonder that. Where do you store all that stuff?
A lot of it goes in my risers.
Oh, Do you like add every year, or is it kind of like, or now it's just a set?
No, I add, or I'll change things up so much.
Mm-hmm.
So it might not be that I'll get like, well, this year I got like 7. Okay, maybe like 9 new animatronics, but not every year do I do that.
Is that like, do you have to like go online for that stuff, or do you like go in
I do,
person?
because I don't drive, I do a lot of my shopping online, and I do a lot of my shopping off season. When everybody started buying the stores, I'm already done.
Nice.
I'm already done and feeling when they're buying in the stores.
Well, thank you again very much for the little setup. I'll have to check out the Ghostbusters that are inflated now. Oh, and the Beetlejuice house too, huh?
Oh, yeah, there's a little back.
Yeah, so that was very, very cool. Let's check out the Ghostbusters front here, which should be inflated now. Look at that, the Slimer with the trick or treat. Slimer, trick or treat, the Ghostbusters. I didn't know there was a Ghostbusters blow up car, or that Slimer one, in fact. That's awesome. And then the whole poison. And I love how the guy is like puking the poison from the mouth. So yeah, this one is 3201 I forget the street name already. Let me check it. I'll have to see if I come back at nighttime. It's very tempting. 3201 Russell, that's right. Russell along West 33rd Street. That was very nice that they elaborated and kind of like gave us a sneak peek during the daytime, because usually they operate, I believe, at nighttime. When it's a backyard exhibit like that, that's why I just kept the video recording as opposed to narrating a special thing. Now Lincoln is where the other house is, Douglas Manor, but like I said, I believe it's a nighttime house. I'm checking Google Maps right now. And yeah, it's back toward the right here. I think I might have zoomed in earlier. Let me make sure that I zoomed out. And that we're still recording. Yep. But my battery pack's not charging. So let's... Alright, now we're charging again. So Douglas Manor is coming up in about 3 or 4 houses. So yeah, I undersold it earlier. I was saying, oh, Skelly Manor is the place, which, like, I'm gonna give credit to all 3 of these places now. All 3 of them should be on equal footing for all the effort and uniqueness they put into them. Now here's Douglas Manor. See, it says their hours Friday and Saturday, 7 to 10 p.m. Now back here, I believe that's when during the evening you can actually go into the backyard, and there's like a whole lot more back there. So that's the incentive of coming back during the evening time. I'm going to take a couple of selfie pictures. Alright, snapped my pictures, and let's continue on. Now I think I'm going to head back toward Pearl Road. So we're going to cross back on State. And I know also that person who was telling me about the area and some of the houses, she had mentioned, I think, a different street called Brookview. But I was thinking about, you know, the next house already on Lincoln. So I didn't have a chance to go check that out, but if anyone else wants to, feel free. There's not really a crosswalk intersection here, so let's see if we get lucky with the timing again. I see a window after this Jeep. I know this would drive my mom crazy because she would be, she's always very cautious anytime she's crossing streets. But it seems like every time she does, there's just traffic nonstop for like 10 minutes, like where you don't get any break. And yet any time I'm by myself, it just seems like, oh, I stand there for a few seconds and there's your window. Going downhill now, back toward Pearl. Well, I shouldn't have spoken too soon because now I'm going right back uphill. You usually don't see that like on a cross street between two main roads where you dip all the way down and then come all the way back up. So what do we have here on the right side? Seems like a unique display. Small, but it's the Halloween barn dance, October 31st. So those big displays are always so cool, but there's always an appreciation for any form of a Halloween display. Oh, there's something over here too. It's a Browns fan. What's funny was I was like talking about earlier about the North Ridgeville house and like seeking specific Browns houses for Halloween. I guess you could say they're waiting. He's been waiting for a championship for a long time and still waiting. one of the reasons too that I'm happy to see some of these Browns decorations is, as many of you know, I also operate in conjunction with other staff, the Browns blog Dogs by Nature. And we have there's a post coming up associated with a sponsorship that I believe is supposed to be published on around October 28th. And we're supposed to write something about home gating, meaning like how do you get in the festive Browns spirit at home as opposed to attending a game and tailgating. So with it being around the holiday season, it was kind of encouraged, like, oh, maybe you could tie it in somehow to Halloween. So I was thinking to myself, oh man, that'd be cool to get some pictures of Browns related Halloween decorations, and that would kind of provide some of the substance and uniqueness for that article. So like I said, seeing that makes me happy. This is West 54th Street and Theota. And I believe if I continue down Theota here, it should bring me to Pearl. And more specifically, I was trying to get to the intersection of Pearl and Ridge Road. And I'm actually going to be going down Ridge Road. And the reason I wanted to start at that intersection was because several months ago, on a weekend, I think it was a weekend, I did a long bike riding video, a two-parter. One was taking Big Creek Parkway out to Southland, and then part two was riding my bike from Southland through Parma Heights, going down Pearl Road, and it kind of included that intersection I was referring to at Pearl and Ridge, and then I continued toward Brook Park and further on down Ridge Road from there. So if I start there, this will cover portions of Ridge Road that I haven't gotten to before. I love how I just pick any street. Like, it wasn't specifically game planned for me to come down Theota, and there's a lot of little houses with Halloween exhibits. For time constraints, I really only have time to show or stop and show like the big ones. So I hope as I'm riding by, some of that Halloween festiveness is being picked up. Hitting way too many bumps on the sidewalk. Time to go down to the street, although up here it says no outlet. I think all I need to do is go down to the next block, and then I'll reach that intersection of Pearl and Ridge, because at that end of that no outlets area was that Family Dollar Dollar Tree combination. Look at this across the street there. It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. Welcome, Great Pumpkin. We're going to get into the shade here and check something on my phone.